The civil rights movement gained momentum in the 1960s. People were standing up for the right of equality and justice. They not only did this by large gatherings and protests, but also peacefully by powerful lawyers. At that time, the District of Columbia was not only segregated, but it was powerless, having no government of its own.
Back to the time when I was president of the D.C. Federation of Civic Associations, Inc. John Emmer was president of the D.C. Federation of Citizens Association, Inc. We had two because the District of Columbia was then segregated. The District of Columbia, being powerless, with very few rights, was the candidate for a substantial number of highways. The highways were planned to devastate the black community. The community in which I lived at that time was scheduled to have a freeway known as the North Central Freeway, busting it up. It would have torn up the entire community. They planned them right through the black community. They'd wipe out the blacks.
I had the opportunity to talk with Simon Kane, a lawyer from D.C. who defended the African American communities victimized by the new highway system. A network of interstates would have come through D.C., all of which would have destroyed dozens of communities. The most famous and the most feared of these was the I-266 and Three Sisters Bridge project. The Three Sisters Bridge project was one of many such acts of devastation throughout the country. However, this project was in our nation's capital, setting itself as the prime example for the country.
We have the Key Bridge now, and we had that then. But a part of this plan was to construct a Three Sisters Bridge, which was just a distance up from the Key Bridge. You pass on the Key Bridge. If you're coming into the District of Columbia from Virginia, and you look to your left, you'll see three little rocks out there, or three island rocks out there in the Potomac. That's where the Three Sisters Bridge was to have been constructed.
The Roslyn Key Bridge is just south of three small rocks in the Potomac River. Locations for the new I-266 bridge were proposed to the north and south of this location, but the lawsuit of a few civic groups postponed bridge construction in the summer of 1969. John Sirica, a U.S. district judge, had ruled that the bridge was in fact going to be built at Three Sisters, and a hearing had to be held to discuss the design of the bridge to be. Many of the same civic groups appealed to Sirica's ruling to the U.S. Court of Appeals.
So we joined with people in Maryland, namely Sammy Abbott and myself, Johnny Wilson, and many of us who were members of the Lamont Riggs Citizens Association. Well, we had all kinds of demonstrations. We let the Congress and the Department of Highways and Traffic in the District of Columbia know that we did not want such a monstrosity destroying our neighborhood.
Sammy Abbott described this project as white men's roads through black men's bedrooms. Sammy Abbott was also the one who led his coalition in 1970 to stand in front of the bulldozers at the construction site of the Three Sisters Bridge. After several days of media events, some shoving, hollering, and a few arrests, the construction project was shut down by court order. It never started again.
If that bridge had been constructed, much of this area where we live here now, no doubt would have disappeared.
The highway system came to a halt after just 10.7 miles. By not paving these roads, more than 17.2 miles of community were saved. Between 1,000 and 1,200 homes and apartments were saved from destruction, around 3,000 jobs were saved from displacement, and more than $1 billion became available to Metro. These funds would have otherwise been used for the construction of the highway. More money became available for Metro as soon as Congress approved its funds. William Natcher, a representative of Bowling Green, Virginia, still fought for the new highway systems by sitting on these funds for 4 years, but eventually the money was released and Metro construction could begin.
What better way to get some land that you would like to get than using condemnation proceedings to do it?
The African American and white communities joined forces and were successful in stopping the construction of this highway system. Similar cases in the future may be more difficult for the citizen due to a recent Supreme Court decision in which the court ruled 5-4 in Kelo versus New London that governments may use eminent domain to seize private property for economic use.
Now, unfortunately, the Supreme Court has ruled that condemnation can now be done to take people's homes for investment purposes by business enterprises, just like the case up in Connecticut. I never thought the Supreme Court would rule the way it did on that issue, but it seems to me that was not the intention of the framers of the Constitution when that was put in there.